Call this meeting to order, October 9th, school board meeting. Verification of meeting posted. This meeting was posted in accordance with all of Wisconsin open meeting laws. Attendance roll call.
Can we do it again?
Yeah.
Focus one. Jason?
Here.
Lori?
Here.
Kevin?
Here.
Gary?
Here.
Bob?
Here.
Brett?
Here.
Myself, Tracy. All in attendance.
Excellent. All right, if we could all rise for the pledge of allegiance, and Jason, will you lead us?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So we are on the approval of agenda, but I am going to make a change before we approve. I am going to move a portion of the president's report that includes the presentation by School Exec Connect, our consulting group. I'm going to move that to just after the student presentation. So I would like a motion to approve the agenda with that change.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Is there any item anybody would like to remove for individual consideration or discussion? Going once? No? Okay, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. And moving on to number 3, student representation. Hi, Hannah.
Hello. Alright, so at Muskego High School, the parent-teacher conferences were held on September 27th, and they were held in person and as well as virtual. The MHS World Language Department is now offering the Costa Rica-Africa Winter Exchange. So Muskego families can now host an exchange student from Costa Rica for 2 weeks in January. And they will also have the opportunity to send their child to Costa Rica. The PSAT is being held for juniors on October 11th, so Wednesday, to prepare them if they wish to take the SAT, which is required by some out-of-state schools. Students can speak to a career coach from WCTC to learn about the paths after high school and get counseling for it. Students are able to enroll in the Early College Credit Program, or the ECCP, through UW school and take up to 18 credits. And a similar opportunity, students can enroll in the Start College Now program, and they'll be enrolled in a local tech college and take up to 18 credits. Freshman students have the option, if they need tutoring, to utilize the after-school academic program, and those tutoring sessions happen Tuesdays from 2:30 to 3:30. Senior student photo deadline is on October 20th. MHS is offering the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, or the ASVAB, which is a multiple choice test that's used to determine the qualification for enlistment in the United States Armed Forces. And during the football game at Arrowhead's National Honor Society held a Miracle Minute fundraiser for a severely injured student during the summer. With contributions from both teams, they were able to raise $2,900 for the student. Moving on to Lake Dune Middle School. Lake Dune students had their parent-teacher conferences last week, and they also offered in-person and virtual options. Students can now honor a veteran by placing their name on the Veterans Day wall. They must complete a form and turn it into their homeroom teacher by November 11th. Lake Dune announced their spring musical, which is The Wizard of Oz, so students can apply for auditions by October 15th. October 11th is Picture Retake Day for students. They can join the Lake Dune Ski and Ride Club, so they can take trips to Alpine Valley Ski Hill starting Tuesdays in December. And Lake Dune and Lakeview's PTOs are partnering to host a free trunk or treat event. So parents are needed to decorate their trunks and pass out candy to students, and monster meals will be available for $5, consisting of hot dog, chips, and water. At Muskego Lakes, students can utilize the homework center during lunch to get extra help with assignments. Students can also join the Homework Club, which meets weekly after school on Wednesdays from 3:10 to 4:05. Registration for Pumpkin Spice Fest is now open, and the actual fest is on October 22nd. and parents can sign their students up for chess lessons and even compete in tournaments through the Muskego Scholastic Chess Club. Signups can be found on the Muskego Lakes website. Moving on to Mill Valley. Mill Valley was accepting donations for the Mill Valley Courtyard Gardens at the end of September. They were asked to submit their fishing pictures to be put in the newsletter to highlight the fishing unit in their PE classes. It was Principal Schroetz's last day on September 29th, and after 12 years with Mill Valley, she's moving on to taking the position of Assistant Superintendent of Continuous Improvement here on the board. Leadership will be taken over by Mrs. Harris and Ms. Hetzel. She's actually my principal. Kind of cool. Mill Valley also kicked off the first One Book, One School program in which each student received a copy of A Boy Called That. Mill Valley is hosting the Halloween parade on October 26th and will be participating in the trunk or treat event mentioned earlier. There's Scholastic Book Fairs being held this week, and every student will be receiving a snow bag from the PTO to carry their snow gear in. At Lakeview Elementary, Lakeview had its annual Dragon Dash race on September 29th. They also held their parent-teacher conferences, and during these conferences they held their Scholastic Book Fair in the library. And students wore neon on October 2nd to support Mr. Mike and Mr. Jeff for Custodian Appreciation Day. And finally, Bay Lane, there's a new building operations supervisor, Matt Van Zeeland. Matt was with the school district since 2011 and had previous positions as summer crew, groundskeeping, and head custodian. Bay Lane also had their parent-teacher conferences on the 4th, and we'll have the rest of them on the 12th. Bay Lane had their Blazing Bobcat breakfast on September 27th. They had their Spirit Week last week, ending it off with their color walk and their color walk. They wore their color walk shirts and sunglasses, and they received a couple more color walk donations from Discovery World, Costco, and the Green Bay Packers.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Great report. Anyone have any questions?
no, thanks for tabulating
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to, we are going to welcome our School Exec Connect consultants, Matt Gibson and Jerry Freitag, come on up. And they're gonna just present to us the superintendent profile that was developed from all of these forums and the survey that happened. We did meet previously to this, just before this, earlier this evening, to go through this more specifically, and it's a great, absolutely great profile. So I will hand it over to you, and you guys can go through that.
Thank you very much, Terry. So the document I'll present very briefly because went into more depth during the work session. So it's a several page document, but the last page I'll present are the 10 things that we'll be most looking for in the recommended candidates for the new superintendent. So just very brief background. This just goes through how we put it together. You can't read it from there, but I'll show you that anyway. The strengths, challenges, goals, and attributes that we looked for, we sampled those through focus groups and a survey. And these are the results of the focus groups. There were 83 participants. 23 of them were students that were part of the principal's cabinet over at the senior high school. And the rest of them were largely parents and staff. And so from that, we have strengths of the district, challenges. So strengths are things that are in place right now. Challenges are things when you anticipate the future, what the school district may need to look at in addition to continuing to do the strengths. The suggested goals would be things that the new superintendent during the first year or two might attend to, just so, again, all of this is aimed at the new person knowing what the new person would be getting into. And there's so many strengths here, but it's honest just to give challenges as well. And then what are the attributes that we're looking for? In other words, what do we want this person to just be absolutely good at so they don't have to work at it, so it's like second nature for them. And then we also did a survey, and 648 people responded to that. Many of you in here might have also responded. And then that also generated data on what the strengths, challenges, goals, and attributes would be. The same questions were asked in both kinds of data gathering. And all of that is background to my purpose tonight. Jerry's and my purpose is presenting these 10 items of the way in which we'll be screening candidates, for example, the way in which we'll be recommending candidates, and will also form the basis for some interview questions. And then pending the board's interest, it would also be a set of criteria that could be used for selection of the next superintendent. So I'm gonna just very quickly highlight them so that you know, maybe some of you in here would be even applying for it, but people also from other places. The board's asked us to do a very competitive search, but also there's a lot of talent in the district. So people will be interviewing relative to these 10 points. So it creates an atmosphere of kindness and respect for all. It's something you've been very used to with your retiring superintendent. So these are people things that at the beginning is visible and approachable in the schools and community as a high expectation because it's been in place and it's absolutely loved. Works effectively with the school board in leading the district, and the operant word in there is with the school board. So a lot of people had input on, will the superintendent be leading the board? Will the board be leading the superintendent? Well, yes and yes, because it's a collaboration. Each has a different role, a governance role and a leadership role. So working to find someone who understands how that works all together would be implicit in having the new superintendent be successful and also the board being successful. Identifies issues and addresses them openly in a timely manner. It's kind of a packed sentence. I mean, you have to identify what the issue is. You don't deduct the issue, you accept the issue. And then you address it openly, which takes a lot of courage sometimes because reasonable people would disagree and you do that in a timely manner. So this really describes the role of a superintendent, but specifically tailored to the role of the superintendent in Muskego, Norway, because that's where the data all came from. Then communicates clearly and regularly on behalf of the district. Clearly, so it's not ambiguous, and then regularly, and then in a lot of different venues. And then those 5 are kind of all people things, strategy things, but then the next one is really what happens inside the district. It recruits, supports, and retains quality leaders, faculty, and staff. You have that right now. That's a big strength of yours, and people want that to continue. Why would you not want to do that? Appreciate the district's mission and build upon it. There was a lot of support that was from every group for what the district has been able to do with its mission right now and building upon it. So what's looked for is not dramatic changes, but going back to what I said a few minutes ago, the district will have challenges moving forward. So there may be changes, but someone that doesn't come in and just carte blanche, start over things that are working really, really well. And the next one instills a mindset that continues to build capability and capacity. That's kind of in contrast to micromanaging. In other words, higher quality of people, support them. The next one, maybe I'll save for Robin Schroetz's benefit in particular, leads continuous improvement processes throughout the district. So the superintendent would be leading those, but probably you'd be the right-hand person, but the superintendent would be helping to prioritize those and then keep everybody on track so that you have a lot of consistency. You try to have wanted variation so things are fun, but not unwanted variation. I'm not telling you what to do because you know better than I what to do, but I'm just illustrating it and having fun with Robin while I'm doing it. And then sustains the district's focus on college and career readiness for all. So the district doesn't swing, far one direction or another direction, because right now, well-developed programs in those areas and continue to develop them, but you notice a for all at the beginning, that means for all students. So that means it needs to be pretty tailor-made to be, for example, increasing diversity in the district, need to be sensitive to that. Whereas right at the top, respect for all, at the bottom, providing programming and services for all. So that's what we're going to be recruiting people into. And then where we'll be going next with this is applications for the position. We'll be recruiting through October 18th, so it's going to move along pretty quickly. and then in early November, mid-November, late November, doing all of the screening process of candidates with the goal of having a new superintendent in place in December. So I'll conclude my presentation there very briefly, but the recommendation is to approve the attributes of the new superintendent, the profile, for the reasons I stated earlier. So I would recommend that.
Any comments? Is there any comments or questions on anything?
Thank you
Before
again.
we make the motion?
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we are going to make a motion to move this for action tonight, so that we can prove this and they can utilize this going forward. So I need a motion to move this for action.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And opposed? Okay, so that motion passes. Now I'd like to make a motion to approve the profile as presented tonight by School Exec Connect to utilize during the process of the application process for our new superintendent.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the motion passes. So thank you very much. Great job. It really captures well, every group, so
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in tonight. Okay, so now we will go back to our regular here, so superintendent's report.
Thank you. So the very first thing on our agenda is staff recognition. This probably isn't something new to you, but as a system, we continue to be blessed with just amazing employees who tirelessly put their best foot forward each and every single day to help us do our best work. And tonight, we're excited to recognize one of those employees for their work that not only leads the region, but also really the state of Wisconsin. So recently, the Wisconsin Association for School Business Officials, that's oftentimes referred to as WASBO, recognized Tim Gorecki and Muskegon Norway Schools for a service award. So Tim's here tonight to be recognized and would ask that you come forward, Tim.
Certificate of Appreciation. The Muskegon Norway School Board congratulates Muskego High School Building Operations Supervisor Timothy Gorecki on being selected as the recipient of the WASBO 2023 Business Services Award. The WASBO Business Services Award was established to recognize outstanding practices and new ideas that result in significant contributions to school entities or profession of school business management. This award is presented annually to an educational institution in Wisconsin which has implemented a business practice that has resulted in an improvement in service, increased efficiency, or more simply, a better way of doing business. Timothy Gorecki was honored for his success on October 5th, 2023 at the Ostorff Resort in Elkhart Lake. A check in the amount of $1,000 and a plaque was awarded at the annual WASBO Foundation Fall Concert. The Muskego Norway School Board commends Timothy Gorecki for his exceptional leadership that brings honor not only to himself, but to the Muskego Norway community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. There you have it. Want to take a picture? Sure.
One, two, three. Got it.
Thank you again.
You bet.
For those curious about Tim's project, I just gotta brag on him for a minute. He made this process in our facilities department where we took like everything we do, from radios to custodial staffing to subbing and everything under the sun, and he made a chart, and we essentially took a stab at who would lead each of those things, and then we assigned leads, and then each of those things essentially is fulfilled throughout the year, rather than kind of just happening on a whim. It's all happening in a structure. So I think he's gonna be presenting at a conference coming up on this process he created, so it was awesome. Thank you.
Good job, Tim.
So next on superintendent report, we have our 2024-25 capital budget planning. And Jeremiah is here to talk a little bit about capital projects that are in the very near future. So Jeremiah, please.
So each year we talk through what we're going to be doing in the upcoming summer. So this is actually in preparation for that. It takes quite a while to go through the process of identifying the projects and then procuring bids and then coming back to you guys to approve the bids. Just a little background. So we have about a $750,000 annual budget for capital improvements. And so that could be anything from last year we did fencing and turf on baseball and a few other projects. So really things that rehab our facilities and keep them in shape. Usually around November, we're bidding things out and we're bringing them back in January. Years ago, we were bringing them back in like March or April, but that's just too long as far as the current climate and construction goes. And then the projects are completed during the summer. So just a little background on our infrastructure. We have 97 roof sections that are generally get a life cycle of 20 to 35 years. And so depending on the roof makeup, if we're lucky, we would get 35 years out of them. We have them assessed every year by an engineering firm, so they just wrapped up their assessment of that, and so we have documentation on every single roof section and the condition. We have 46 parking lots, or essentially 1.4 million square feet of parking lots. We have them crack filled every year, seal coated every 3 years, so that makes them like nice and dark, and we repaint the lines. And then we do have a parking lot budget at the high school that helps offset some costs at the high school, and that's funded by student parking fees to help keep the parking lot there nice. We've been working on flooring, specifically at Lake Danoon. We finished out Lakeview a couple years ago. Lake Danoon is almost done, and the high school is next on the docket for flooring replacements. We have about 50,000 square feet at Lake Danoon and infinity at the high school. So we'll be chipping away at that as time goes on. In addition, there's been talk with our clubs about the flooring in the gym at Lake Danoon, which is the only flooring that isn't hardwood. There is a hardwood court, but there's also 2 courts that are tile, so we don't have any commitments yet, but we can certainly entertain that when it comes up if there's a price match or anything like that. Talked about this a little bit last year, but this is really having to do with security infrastructure. It is in progress. Installation of door position switches. In addition to that, we've found a program that integrates all of our hardware into one program. So door position switches essentially will tell us if that door is propped open, and that would come through a text message. And then we have a key access program that tells us every time somebody swipes a card. That's a different program. Then we have the camera program, which is cameras. So none of those really talk to each other, and this program will integrate them all into one platform that can essentially be called up. So if there's a door propped open, that camera pops on. Or if there is a card swipe that you want to be made aware of if somebody enters a building, that camera could come up that's associated with that doorway. And so we're working through this, and we hope to be ready around winter to roll it out. I know we had talked in the past about having a central hub station. This may allow us to have these monitors at each school, or maybe at the receptionist desk, where they can see these things happening real time as they're working. So we're going to work through this first and then see how that goes. This is cutting edge technology. There's not many districts in the state that I'm aware of that have it. So we're really excited to roll it out. This is very prominent in private business.
Is that something that SROs will be able to have access to?
For sure, yeah. The SROs have access to cameras right now.
They do?
Yeah, and they're in the police cruisers if the police needed to access them from their cars. Some priority areas when we talk about parking lots. The high school, there's some of it that's in really good shape, notably the brand new parking lot that we have, if you haven't seen it. The ESC and the west lot are also in really good shape, and we redid the drive into activities not too long ago and around the corner by the clinic. Some areas that are aging are between the new parking lot and the activities lot. That will be milled as part of the construction coming up, so that will be taken care of during that. The red area is an area that we are going to see what weathers, how the referendum weathers, and maybe that as we spend down the contingency, that's an area that we focus on as we wrap up the project. It's taken a beating as
construction traffic drives through there, so we will monitor and hopefully address. In addition, we will be doing seal coating and crack filling to start the school year, so that will hopefully make everything kind of tie in together and look like a nice parking lot, even if there's some areas that need rehabbing. At Lakeview, we put in a new parking lot just a couple of years ago with the last referendum. That's the far south or the lower pictured lot. A couple of years later, we came back and did the far west lot on the left. The red area is gonna be reconditioned as part of the referendum because that's all tore up right now for where the gym is going, which leaves us that little orange sliver there, which we're hoping to also tie into potential referendum dollars or capital dollars, depending on where we end up with contingency at the end. On the left is a picture of that orange area. It's getting tough. At Lake Danoon, we're also having some hardscape issues. So this is leading out to the playground. There's a lot of concrete. And working with Chad and the supervisor there, we think we're gonna reduce this down to a sidewalk. There's not a whole lot of action that happens, even though maybe at one time it was intended that this would be like an outdoor seating area. It's really just a walkway to get to the playground, so we're probably just gonna connect the building with a sidewalk and then a sidewalk heading straight out. So we're hoping to address that this summer. Flooring at Lake Danoon, the areas that remain are red. All of the green have been done, so it would really be nice just to finish it out and let it roll on. Below is a picture of their gym if you haven't seen it. So they have that tile floor, and then far south is a wood court. So the projects that we're looking at this year out of the capital, as it sits right now, would be Lake Danoon flooring, high school flooring. We would like to, it's not part of the referendum, but essentially connect the lower level coming from the cafeteria down to that lower clay tile area. So the clay tile that's part of the STEM edition is going to be new, but then we kind of got this island of old floor between and 8 classrooms. So we're hoping to potentially connect it all, so at least the whole lower level is done. The concrete at Lake Danoon, the Genetech security system, parking lot crack filling, Lakeview parking lot, and seal coating the high school brings it all to around $750,000. So we're gonna wait and see where the construction contingency lands. I believe construction contingency is around $300,000 right now, and it started at $1 million, so we're almost out of the ground. And then our owner contingency, I think, is around a couple $100,000 at the moment. So we'll see how that all works in the coming months here. Questions?
On one of your slides, you had the tennis courts highlighted. What's the concern with those? Just aging paint, or is it?
Yeah, I maybe should have pulled that because we are considering what to do, like with the whole setup, and there's been some requests to put the seating inside of the court area, which would be nice. It's not really the best spectator seating. We would like to maybe move, like split 2 courts on each side and then have a gallery in the center. After getting some comparative costs, Kettle Moraine just redid theirs and it was $2.3 million, so I had to pull that back from this conversation. Yeah. So maybe someday.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So at some point, we may have to fill all the cracks. To do a crack fill on the tennis courts is actually $80,000. So if you go to the tennis courts and you take a look, there's some strategic expansion joints that they make it so that the centers don't crack. So over time, those get a little further apart. Then we have to scrape out the infill and then refill with a new compound that kind of flexes and then paint that. So we painted the tennis courts probably 6 years ago and did that crack fill treatment, but it's starting to come separate again. Good question. Is that yours too?
It was mine.
Are you guys planning on doing the ice thing on the tennis court again this year, or no?
No.
Okay.
I think for the labor it took to put it out and the ROI on the really warm winter last year, it
Didn't pan out?
no.
Yeah. Because you had it on where the parking lot is now.
Yeah. We've set it up in many places.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that you look at something and it looks flat, but it's not flat when you put
No,
something out there. So
yeah.
at one end of the ice, it was like this thick, and the other end, it's like paper thin.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Jeremiah, you are extremely strategic with the work that you do. You have a great pulse on our facilities, and I think you makes $750,000 go a really long way with the work that you do and you lead, so thank you for that.
Can I
Next
just have
item,
one question, sorry. For that, the question about parking on here, is there still parking that's going behind this building? It's just not on the.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And that'll be milled too, because it's currently staged with construction stuff, so that'll be redone as part of the construction, the
Okay.
other section where the trailer is too.
Sorry,
Also,
it just wasn't on the diagram.
sorry, you guys all have access to the master planning folder, which has our minutes, but we're starting tours on Fridays at 10 a.m. But if anybody ever wants to tour, just shoot me a message and we'll meet at the construction trailer and see the athletics complex area. The health science is really coming along, where it's pretty much all enclosed. And the STEM edition has 2 walls up, so that'll come along nice.
Thank you, Jermaine.
Thank you.
so next item on the superintendent report is the WASB Region 11 meeting. That's happening tomorrow night. I don't know, Lori, if you're still taking anyone that is interested, but I will be there with Brett and Lori. They have a dinner and then they will begin their meeting. So we're looking for a great time tomorrow night. Embassy Suites in
For a great time
Brookfield.
call.
I'm signed up already.
Oh,
Oh, you are too.
Yep. You sent it to me.
Sorry, and Tracy.
all right.
The trifecta.
Yes, here we go.
Good luck.
Thank you, I'll let you know how it goes. So the very final item on the superintendent report is contributions to the profession. We have, as I said multiple times, amazing staff. So throughout the next several weeks, we have multiple individuals that are going to be out and about speaking, whether it be at the state level, the college level, et cetera. So those particular people and what they're going to be participating in to grow the profession are in board docs. So thank you very much for all that continue to step up to not only put Muskego Norway on the map, but also to help grow people in our profession. And that, my friends, concludes the superintendent report.
Your first one?
Yes.
You made it.
Congrats.
All right, President's report. Welcome Jeff to his first meeting as superintendent. Welcome Robin. Your new roles, your first meeting, you survived through it so far, so that's good. I also would like to just mention, last week was school board week, and to say I appreciate each and every one of you. All of your board members make a huge difference in our community. You are hardworking. I've put a lot of stuff in committee, and you are just doing a phenomenal job working through all of that with extra meetings and extra work. So you appreciate extra for school board week. So we'll just take it right into this week too. I will not be at the conference, so thank you for those of you who are going. It is my 25th wedding anniversary, so I think I should be home.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I think that is all I had for mine. So, other board member reports. Brett?
Well, Jeff stole my thunder, so that's all I had to report was the meeting tomorrow night. And I couldn't have done it any better, Jeff, thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Bob? Tracy?
Nope, we have our meeting next week for Seesaw.
Kevin?
Nope.
Lauren? Jason?
Just the curriculum committee stuff.
Yep, that'll come up next.
Cruising along, that's it.
All right, committee reports. We have a lot of committee stuff happening tonight, so you guys don't need to, if you wanna wait to talk about it under discussion, you can. If you just wanna get a brief overview of what you've been doing the last month, which is a lot. Bob?
I mean, do we want to do it on our, well, as you can, I'll just do
Just
it
briefly say what you're,
So, as you can see under resolution action items, we've gone through a ton of policies in the first 2 reviews with Neola, and these are brought forward, all but 2, which were held back, but the rest were brought forward with the changes.
And the curriculum committee has been reviewing all the wonderful courses that Andy alluded to in the committee of the whole meeting. And we will, at some point, be bringing forth a motion for approval, so.
Okay, moving on to number 6, resolution action items. So, I'll just read through this and then we can make the motion, okay? So, resolution action item 6A, policy committee Neola recommended policy for revisions, V32-1, policies 0-100 definitions, policy 2221 special observance days, 3215, 4215 use of tobacco, nicotine, and related products by professional staff, 5200 attendance, 5330 administration of medication emergency care, 5340 accidents, illness, concussion, and cardiac arrest, 5410 promotion, placement, and retention, 5512 use of tobacco, nicotine, and related products by students, 5517 student anti-harassment, 5771 school and student safety searches, 7434 use of tobacco, nicotine, and related products on school premises, 7440 facility security, 8405 environmental health and safety program, 8450 control of casual contact communicable disease, 8600 transportation, 8800 religious and patriotic ceremonies and observances, 8802 patriotic activities and observances.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? And as Bob said, they have already reviewed these in depth at policy committee, one by one, and brought these forward as recommendations to the board to be approved. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That motion passes. Okay. Resolution action item B, policy committee, Neola recommended policy revisions, V32-2, policies, 142.1 electoral process, 0164 meetings, 0164.1 regular meetings, 0164.2 special meetings, 0165.1 notice of regular meetings, 0165.2 change of regular meetings, 1260 incapacity of superintendent, 1630.01, 3430.01, and 4430.01 family and medical leave of absence FMLA. 2340 district sponsored trips, 2451 program or curriculum modifications, 3120.07 employment of casual resource personnel, 3139 and 4139 staff discipline, 5113 full-time open enrollment program, 5215 missing and absent children, 5350 students suicide prevention, 5350 suicide prevention, intervention, and post-vention, 5505 academic honesty, 5530 student use or possession of intoxicant drugs and or paraphernalia, 6151 returned outstanding stale checks, 6236 community service fund, fund 80, 6610 activities, student activity fund, 6610 non-district supported student activity accounts, 7440-01 video surveillance and electronic monitoring, 7440.02 smart monitoring equipment, 7540.08 artificial intelligence, 8146 notification of educational options, and 8310 public records.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve course approvals recommended by the I'm reading the wrong one, sorry about that. There we go. Motion to approve volume 32.2 policy revisions as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Weren't the, meeting ones rescinded ones? Are they supposed to be on there? I don't have my
I
sheets
think
with me.
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause there
That's
was
why you
2 meeting ones that we rescinded, or
There
were
there were
rescinded
two
from.
different, there were two different ones rescinded, they were out of there when I looked.
Yeah, they're all on there.
They're
Not
on
on
there or
there,
out?
they should be out of there.
Yeah, they're on here to be
Yeah, we
rescinded.
gotta-
So we're rescinding the policy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, they're rescinded, okay. So
Yeah.
it's really not that we're admitting, we're rescinding them,
Correct.
okay. That was confusing.
Any other discussion?
Take
All in-
her review on all of that.
Yes.
Right?
I got tired of just reading them.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
So, huge.
3 hours worth, come on by.
Should've ordered pizza.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, moving on to C, new course proposals. Introduction to product development and design 1, product development and design 2, product development and entrepreneurship, electricity and plumbing, foundations and masonry, HVAC, interior, trim and flooring, roof framing and exteriors, AP, pre-calc, leadership 2, careers in criminal justice, and advanced culinary.
Motion to approve?
so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just point of privilege, wanted to note that there was a lot of work around getting this done, so thank you to Andy, to the teachers, the CPC team, the curriculum committee team, who were meeting in parallel for the last 6 weeks on a regular basis, and the parents advisory, so the parents that contributed their opinions and input as well. So even though it seems like a lot of stuff, a lot of courses, I just want everybody to know that there was a lot of work that went into vetting them and approving them, and I'm really looking forward to implementing and having the opportunity to look back, reassess, and really have some quality programming for our students that comes in alignment with what we're looking for in a superintendent, with continually looking at what we can do for all our students and meet all their needs. So thank you to everybody for all your hard work and time.
Thank you for your leadership on that too. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Okay. Instructional materials, advanced culinary textbooks. Yep.
Motion to approve the purchase of curriculum resources as recommended by the Educational Services Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to E, gifts, grants, and bequests.
Motion to approve with thanks the following donations. Bailey Elementary, $750 from Jacob and Nelda Sis for a first and second, or third grade teacher, for classroom purchases. Muskego High School Robotics, $500 from Boyle Frederickson, $2,000 from Generac Foundation, $1,000 from PBG via the Blackbird Giving Fund. Muskego High School Bands, $2,444 from the Friends of MHS Muskego Music Makers, $3,304.08 from the Friends of Muskego High School Music Makers. Muskego High School Girls Volleyball, $431 from the Muskego Digs Volleyball Booster to support Team Spirit shirts, and $1,500 from the Muskego Digs Volleyball Boosters to support booster-funded girls JV2 coaching contract for Drew Empner and Trevor Salutrick.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to discussion items, 23-24 budget, just standing. And 8, information follow-up. You can see there just the financial summary, personnel information memo, any communication miscellaneous business authorized by law. I do not have anything for that. Which brings us to motion to adjourn. So no discussion, I'm assuming. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.